Everyone. Welcome everyone to our third conference and conversations for SMPS, Amplify AEC. My name is Kenda Salisbury, and I am this year's conference chair. And I'd like to introduce today's interviewee, Kat Kibben. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Kat Kibben. I am a job post writing expert, and I
Ooh,
am currently based outside of Chicago, Illinois. I didn't want to be a job post writing expert when I was growing up. I know that might surprise everyone. It wasn't the big dream, but I became a job post writing expert through a series of life experiences working in recruiting and marketing and understanding that relationship between both.
awesome. Can you tell us a little bit more about your session that you're going to be presenting?
Yeah, so during my session, we're going to talk about job postings, and I'm going to walk everyone through the theory, the history, and the why so that we can do some live workshopping. And you'll actually leave the session with an updated job posting. That's the goal of our work together.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Full disclosure, I have seen Kat speak at a recent conference, and this is the reason that we're bringing her in. She's amazing, and this will be perfect. So we're all going through the recruiting thing right now, and our conference, as you know, is called Amplify AEC. Throughout your career, how have you been able to amplify your voice and leadership?
Yeah, I think the beauty of my roles is that I've been able to find a lot of small things that create big impact for my business. And job postings are one of those examples that I think we often forget about, right? Every one of us has job postings. If you're hiring, we all have job postings, but it's the content that's most forgotten. Working on press releases and grants and approvals, right? But if we don't have the people, it's really hard to actually get that work done. And so I see the job postings and lots of little things I've done in my career as they're seemingly small, but they've opened doors for people I'll never meet. And that's something I'm really proud of.
What drove you in this direction?
Yeah. So it's a kind of a crazy story. I was attending an event and they asked me to speak on job postings. And I was like, I'm not an expert. Why would you have me do this? And they're like, well, you know a lot about demand generation and you know a lot about recruiting. And job postings are kind of the pinnacle, no pun intended, of those elements. And so I did a lot of research. I got very invested. And at the end, I offered to write job postings for free. And I had over 1,000 people contact me in the next three
Whoa.
hours. And I realized I had something. And the beauty of it is that because there was no expert in this space at the time, I went out and learned through kind of that 10,000 hour model, right? I literally spent time rewriting all 1,000 of those job postings to learn what they all had in common and create training and theory based off of actual lived experience and not just my guess.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm amazed by this.
We had to hire a team. I mean, it was crazy. I remember I was on a plane when it happened. So it was one of those like online sessions that they recorded and ran after the fact. And so they ran the session and my laptop died at the 26th minute. It was a 30-minute session. I'm watching the chat and I was like, oh, wow, people, they're really into this. They have a lot of questions, right? My laptop dies mid-flight because you're like trying to do the Wi-Fi and the whatever. And as I land, I turn on my phone and it blew up. I couldn't believe the response, but it makes sense, right? Job postings are a topic that every single person needs to know how to do, but no one was taught how.
What would you say is the biggest takeaway you've taken from this entire experience?
Yeah, I think it's that I went into it thinking that it was really unique, right? That the architecture industry would be different than another one or that, right? And as much as there is nuance, the systems are the same because it's actually about the people on the other side and the
Right.
information they need. We write for people, not about work.
Which is sometimes difficult to do in our industry.
Oh, it's
We're
so
so focused on the projects and winning the work and not necessarily on the emotion behind all of that.
yeah.
Uh, how would you say that you see marketing changing over the next few years, and how will that affect job descriptions?
Right. Well, so I think everyone's talking about chat GPT and AI and automation. And how I think that will change marketing and job postings inherently is that everyone can be generically good. Everyone can be the same kind of good, right? Where
Hmm?
you can ask for the thing and you can have the exact same paragraph as everyone else. It changes marketing because now we have to know how to be great editors, not just great creators. We need to know how to ask better questions. We need to know the ethical responsibilities that we should have so that we can actually create content that's not more biased than the stuff we were always using anyway, because the variable of AI using all the data sets that already exist, which are inherently biased. And so becoming a better editor means that we can have a bigger impact. Kind of going back to those small things that we can do to transform and create a broad impact from our work.
Well, you pretty much answered my next question was how can we prepare for that? Are there any other things that the marketer should be thinking about specifically as we're trying to recruit better candidates?
Yeah, I think we're at a junction in which we have to ask better questions and get more specific than we ever have before. Um, if you open up Chat GPT and you say, write me a paragraph, right? You're not going to get what you need.
Right.
Write me a job posting. You're probably not going to get what you need. And so our responsibility as marketers and anyone who's writing a job posting is to ask enough questions so we know what we want. And then using tools plus our brains to create the outcome we need, not one or the other. I think that's going to be the trifecta of success that's possible in this next generation.
I know after the Pinnacle conference, I walked away being blown away and the door being open to me that there's a lot I haven't even thought about in writing job descriptions. What would you say as AEC is a marketing, business development, and leadership conference? Uh, what would you say that the participants should expect to walk away from with after your session?
It's not just how to write a job posting. I think there's information for everyone, whether you write job postings or not. I think there's a better understanding of role definition. If you're a leader or a manager of a team, maybe you're not growing, but redefining roles and understanding what success means. We do focus on that and just helping provide some language around that. And then also for those who are looking for a job, right? They're coming to this conference because it's an excellent networking opportunity, because they want to get better in their field, but they're still opening the internet and looking at the same trash job postings that everyone else is without clarity on what success means or if this job would be good for them. I think you could definitely walk away from this session knowing how to read between the lines of a job posting and understand if it's good for you or not, and frankly, understand if they're just making shit up or actually telling the truth. Well, I'm just being honest. You can't
Well, if they're marketing you,
station without honesty, okay?
you're right. Oprah says you need to be honest there. Your candle behind you.
Just saying. I stand to Oprah's ethical standards here.
I appreciate that very much so. What, if anything, keeps you up at night as it relates to your field? You've just moved. You transitioned from van life to moving to near Chicago. That's a pretty big change. What keeps you up at night outside of that?
Yeah, I traveling this country opened my eyes to how much work impacts people no matter where you are. I think about rural communities where I drove for over 100 miles without seeing one business, and imagining what it might be like for someone who's looking for work in the middle of nowhere, who's trying to figure out so many logistics that those of us who live, and work within a bigger company might not understand. And I think the thing that keeps me up at night is that every single day we write requirements and content that goes out into this world telling people about work. And on the other side of it, there are people who do not understand those requirements because we exaggerate, because we
No,
make
marketing people.
no way, right? We exaggerate, we make things up. We use business speak that doesn't make sense to people. And I do this work every single day, and I'll be doing this session with that same energy of trying to remove the barrier between great people and work that they can do. Because for hundreds of years, we have stopped people from having access to opportunities that could change their lives because we didn't know what we were doing. And I say that with so much love, but now we have this opportunity to actually make this transformation and do the work. And these small efforts create such a ripple effect. And truly, I have watched it change people's lives.
It made a huge impact for me. So I appreciate that. What words or values do you live by?
Yeah.
Interesting question that they gave us here.
It is. And I don't get asked questions like that very often. People are like, tell me about buzzwords. But the phrase that I live by is God swears by time. I discovered that quote many moons ago. I was working the host job during college at a fine dining restaurant, and I grew up in a military family. So let's all be very clear. I knew nothing about fine dining. I was lucky they even gave me the job. Very rough edges. But I was reading an article about the first female lawyer in Iraq after the war, and they asked her what her favorite quote was. And she said, God swears by time. And it's from the Quran. And what it means to me and what it meant to her is that you will be blessed in the things that you invest your time in, right? That when we focus our time, when we realize the value of time as something that we cannot buy, trade, or get back, when we truly value time, that is where we find our joy and where we're able to make the biggest impact in the world.
That is an awesome response.
Thank you. What's yours? Do you have any favorites?
Do I words or values that I live by? I think the one I repeat most often is lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on mine.
That could be on my Oprah candle. That's perfect. That is candle worthy.
Well, that's what as marketing people in this industry, that's what we deal with is things flying at us constantly. So, yeah, making sure people understand scheduling and time. It's a time thing.
Exactly.
Everyone's time is important.
Yep.
So, what are you looking forward to in Austin? Is there anything you're looking forward to there?
I mean, Austin is a great food city, of course.
Yeah.
Obviously, a great music city as well. But most of all, I'm just looking forward to the people. I think this community, just from my last event and being able to think about the next one, I have never been in a room where there is such good energy towards change. I think that's one of the things I've noticed broadly about every conference I've been to with this group is that I watch them invest in change and people take action. They ask questions about the next best step. And so I'm really excited to motivate and hopefully inspire a few people to do something different.
Awesome. I really appreciate your time today. Is there any final thoughts you want to share with the audience?
No, my biggest piece of advice is come to the conference. That's number one. And the second thing I would tell you is bring a job posting. When you go to a conference, you shouldn't just come in for theory. And I know that this entire conference, you're the chair of it, so you know too. These speakers have come with practical, actionable information that you can go and do when you walk out of here. You need to bring your work. If you're focused on a topic, have it in front of you. Be prepared to take notes on something that is real and true because that's how you can get the most actionable insights and really be able to take everything we learn and put it to work right after this session ends.
I like being able to do that during sessions and then being able to talk to my peers about the things that I've learned and how they might implement those things. So I fully agree with that. Yes. I'd like, as we wrap up here, to say thank you so much for your time, Kat. I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you in Austin. For all of those who have joined us today, I'd like to have you visit Amplify AEC for more information, amplifyaec.org for more information about the conference. And we look forward to seeing you in Austin in August, in a couple weeks. So thank you so much, Kat.
We'll see you there. Meet you at the barbecue joint, y'all.
Deal.